Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for March 8th, 2025. Job's steadfast faithfulness. From Job chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. And that man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. There were born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters. He possessed 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys, and very many servants, so that this man was the greatest of all the people of the East. As we step into the story of Job, we meet a man whose life seems to radiate blessing and righteousness. Job is described as blameless and upright, a person who feared God and actively turned away from evil. These aren't just casual words. They paint a picture of a man whose faith shaped his entire being. Living in the land of Uz, Job wasn't hidden away in obscurity. He was known, prosperous, and influential, the greatest of all the people of the East. His wealth, measured in livestock and servants, was immense, and his family, with 7 sons and 3 daughters, reflected a full, vibrant household. Yet, it's not his possessions that defined him in these opening verses. It's his character. From the start, Scripture invites us to see Job as a man of integrity. To be blameless does not mean he was sinless, for all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory. Rather, it points to a life of consistency, where his actions align with his reverence for God. He feared God, not with a dread of paralysis, but with a holy awe that guided his choices. Turning away from evil wasn't a one-time decision. It was a daily practice, a habit of the heart. Job's life reminds us that true righteousness isn't about perfection, but about direction. Walking toward God step by step, even in a world filled with temptation. His prosperity, too, is worth considering. In Job's time, wealth was often seen as a sign of God's favor. And here we see a man blessed abundantly. Yet, as the story unfolds, we discover that Job's faith wasn't rooted in his possessions. His righteousness didn't depend on his circumstances, a truth that will be soon tested. But for us today, this is a gentle challenge. Where do we place our trust? Is our devotion to God tied to what He gives us? Or do we stand firm regardless of what we have or lose? Job's life in these early verses sets a foundation. He's not a distant figure, but a real person, living faithfully in the midst of everyday responsibilities like family, work, and community. So his example calls us to examine our own lives. Are we known for our fear of God? Our turning from evil? Our steadfastness? As we reflect on Job, we're reminded that faith isn't just for the quiet moments, but for the fullness of life, busy, blessed, or even broken. God sees us just as He saw Job, and he walks with us through it all. God's peace and many blessings be with you. And thank you for listening. And please take an opportunity to share this message with others.